Imagine a world where every aspect of your life is carefully curated to match others' expectations. Think about the pressure to present a perfect image, an endless stream of filtered photos and calculated personas designed to win approval. Now ask yourself, what price are you paying for this? Could the relentless chase for validation lead not to self-expression but to self-erasure? Today we'll cover how the death of authenticity, as warned by philosophers like Kierkegaard, can become a form of modern imprisonment. We'll explore timeless wisdom and contemporary psychology to reveal how our desire for acceptance, approval, and belonging might be quietly robbing us of our true identity and potential. By the end of this video, we will share the most profound insight, a perspective that could change the way you see your life forever. Let us embark on this journey into understanding the hidden dangers of inauthenticity and how we can reclaim our genuine selves in a world determined to keep us performing roles we never chose. Carl Jung, in his work on individuation, paints a chilling picture of psychological suffering where humans surrender their authentic nature for the illusion of acceptance. In Jung's framework, people wear personas, masks so convincing that even the wearer forgets what lies beneath. Jung's world is not built on obvious constraints but on invisible conformity so powerful that no one bothers to resist. This, he argued, is the most insidious form of self-betrayal. Now reflect on the society we live in today. From the careful curation of social media profiles to the constant performance of idealized selves, aren't we too creating our own elaborate personas? Psychologists like Dr. Brené Brown, known for her work on vulnerability and shame, warn us that while social connection is essential, pretending to be someone we're not traps us in cycles of anxiety and inadequacy. Algorithms feed us tailored expectations, images, stories, and benchmarks that keep us striving but ultimately leave us disconnected from ourselves. Take a moment to think. How often do you present a version of yourself that doesn't fully align with your true thoughts, feelings, or values, only to find yourself feeling more hollow and foreign to yourself than before? The pursuit of authenticity has a dark counterpart that modern psychology calls identity foreclosure. This concept reveals that when we prematurely commit to identities based on others' expectations, parents, peers, society, we halt our natural development, becoming prisoners of others' dreams rather than architects of our own. This isn't merely theoretical. Research shows a troubling connection between inauthenticity and declining mental health. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Personality found that authenticity strongly predicts well-being, while living in ways that don't match our true values is linked to higher rates of depression and anxiety. What's even more alarming is how this cycle keeps going. The more disconnected we feel from our true selves, the more we seek external validation, which only deepens our self-alienation. What is the true cost of this borrowed existence? Philosopher Martin Heidegger, who explored the concept of authentic being, argued that genuine fulfillment comes not from conforming to the they, but from courageously embracing one's own potential. He believed that when individuals lack authenticity, they are living in a state of forgetfulness of being. Ask yourself, are you living your own life? Or have you unknowingly allowed others' expectations to dictate your choices? This question isn't just philosophical, it's deeply practical. Every day we face decisions. Should we speak our truth or say what others want to hear? Should we pursue our passion or follow the sensible path? These small moments, seemingly unimportant, add up to form the structure of our lives. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once remarked that the deepest form of despair is to choose to be another than oneself. In the pursuit of social acceptance, we risk taking for granted the deeper joys of existence: self-discovery, genuine connection, creative expression, and contribution that springs from our authentic core. This brings us to a powerful insight. Conformity, when pursued without question, does not lead to belonging. Instead, it creates a gap between who we are and who we pretend to be, a gap that grows wider with each inauthentic choice. These invisible chains bind us to expectations, appearances, and roles that drain our energy, stifle our creativity, and diminish our potential. As we continue, we'll explore the hidden systems that thrive on our fear of authenticity and how we can break free from them. But for now, reflect on this. Are you living as your genuine self, or are you merely playing a part in a script written by others? Let this thought guide you as we move deeper into this journey of understanding and self-liberation. And yet breaking free is easier said than done. The system we live in doesn't just encourage conformity, it demands it. From educational institutions that reward compliance over creativity to workplaces that value team players over truth tellers, our world is built to maintain social order, not to nurture authentic expression. Psychologist Carl Rogers observed that most people live by a simple but devastating equation. I am loved, therefore I am lovable, if I do what others expect of me. This conditional self-worth keeps us trapped in patterns of people-pleasing and performance. Now let's go deeper into the psychological and philosophical consequences of a life driven by inauthenticity. If we've learned anything from thinkers like Jung and modern psychologists, it's this. Unchecked conformity doesn't just imprison individuals, it reshapes entire societies. Consider the concept of existential inauthenticity, a term used to describe giving up personal freedom for social comfort. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre warned that people might willingly surrender their authentic being for the safety of prescribed identities. This is precisely the world many of us inhabit, a society lulled into conformity not by force but by the fear of standing out. Now look at our world. Every day we are bombarded by templates for living, influencer lifestyles to emulate, career trajectories to follow, relationship models to adopt. While these patterns provide comfort, they also foster dependence. The less we exercise our authentic choice-making, the more we surrender to prepackaged identities. Here's the hidden danger. This dependence doesn't feel like imprisonment, it feels like belonging, feels secure. And that's what makes it so dangerous. As philosopher Hannah Arendt noted, the most effective forms of control are those that people embrace willingly. In seeking to fit in, we become our own jailers, policing our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to stay within acceptable boundaries. We conform not because someone forces us, but because we've internalized the fear of standing apart. Think about how this applies to your life. How many of your major life decisions reflect your authentic desires? And how many are influenced by family expectations, social pressure, or cultural norms? When was the last time you chose authenticity over approval? This is not just a personal issue. The consequences of an authenticity-starved culture ripple outward, affecting relationships, innovation, and even democracy. When people habitually suppress their true selves, they become susceptible to manipulation, political, commercial, and social. Research in organizational psychology shows that environments that suppress authenticity also stifle creativity and problem-solving. A 2018 study from Harvard Business School found that teams with members who felt free to express their true thoughts and feelings outperformed those where conformity was the norm. This makes sense. Genuine innovation rarely emerges from groupthink. What's even more concerning is how inauthenticity affects our relationships. As researcher Brené Brown discovered, trust requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is impossible without authenticity. When we present only polished versions of ourselves, we may gain approval but lose the possibility of true connection. Start by asking yourself, what do I genuinely value? What would I stand for even if I stood alone? What parts of myself have I been hiding or denying to fit in? These questions might feel uncomfortable, but they are the gateway to reclaiming your authentic life. Let us now confront the heart of the matter. How do we reclaim our authenticity in a world that rewards conformity? The answer lies in understanding a profound truth. Real freedom comes not from gaining others' approval but from having the courage to be who we truly are. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard wrote, "The most common form of despair is not being who you are." This insight is the cornerstone of liberation. When we anchor our lives to authentic self-expression, the need for external validation loses its grip on us. Authenticity acts as a compass, guiding us through social pressures toward a life of integrity and meaning. Consider the lives of those who have made a lasting impact. Visionaries like Frida Kahlo, Nelson Mandela, or Steve Jobs. Their greatness wasn't born from conformity but from embracing their unique perspective and purpose. They remind us that the most profound contribution often comes from authentic self-expression, not from following predetermined paths. But how do we find our authentic selves in a world that pulls us in so many directions? Psychologist Carl Rogers offers a path forward. In his work on becoming a fully functioning person, Rogers describes the importance of developing an internal locus of evaluation, learning to trust your own experiences and values rather than relying solely on external validation. Start by asking yourself these questions. What would I do if I weren't afraid of judgment? What activities make me lose track of time? What values would I stand by even if they were unpopular? These are not easy questions, but they are transformative. Now let's address the most important insight, the revelation that ties everything together. The pursuit of approval, while tempting, is ultimately a distraction from the deeper pursuit of authenticity. True happiness comes from congruence, aligning your outer expression with your inner truth. But to live such a life, we must develop courage, the ability to face disapproval and uncertainty for the sake of integrity. As author Brené Brown says, vulnerability is our most accurate measure of courage. It is through courage that we gain freedom from others' expectations and begin to live as authors of our own stories rather than as characters in someone else's. To cultivate courage, start with small acts of authenticity. Share an unpopular opinion respectfully. Pursue an interest that doesn't make sense to others. Set boundaries that honor your needs even when they disappoint others. These small acts of self-honor may seem insignificant, but they create a ripple effect, gradually reshaping your relationship with yourself and others. Here's another powerful practice. Embrace solitude. Authentic self-knowledge rarely emerges in crowds. Whether it's meditation, journaling, or simply taking walks alone, creating space away from others' voices allows your own inner wisdom to emerge. Think about this. Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, you strengthen your connection to yourself. Every time you resist the pull of performance, you reclaim a piece of your true nature. These moments of choice, though small, are acts of rebellion against a world that profits from your self-alienation. The path to authenticity requires us to develop what psychologist Scott Barry Kaufman calls healthy authenticity, the balance between honest self-expression and thoughtful consideration of others. This isn't about brutal honesty or selfish disregard for social norms. It's about bringing your whole self to your interactions while remaining respectful and kind. Practical steps toward authenticity might include practicing mindful awareness, learning to notice when you're being guided by fear of judgment rather than personal values. Try setting a reminder on your phone to check in with yourself throughout the day with a simple question. Am I being true to myself right now? Researcher Michael Kernis identified 4 key components of authenticity: awareness, unbiased processing, behavior, and relational orientation. Awareness means knowing your strengths, weaknesses, emotions, and values. Unbiased processing involves looking at both positive and negative information about yourself without denial or distortion. Behavior means acting in accordance with your true self. And relational orientation means being genuine in your close relationships. Working on each of these areas can help you build what psychologists call authenticity skills. The ability to know and express your true self even in challenging situations. Another powerful tool is what therapists call values clarification, the process of identifying what truly matters to you. Take time to write down your core values, not what you think they should be, but what genuinely resonates with you. Then examine how well your daily choices align with these values. Often, the gap between what we value and how we live creates the feeling of living someone else's life. Remember that authenticity doesn't mean you'll never again feel social pressure or the desire to fit in. These are normal human experiences. The difference is that an authentic person consciously decides when to conform and when to stand apart. rather than automatically surrendering to external expectations. As philosopher Albert Camus wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." In a world that profits from your conformity, choosing authenticity is indeed revolutionary. So what will you choose? Will you continue to live according to scripts written by others, or will you rise to the challenge of authentic living? The choice is yours, and remember, this journey isn't just about improving your life, it's about inspiring others to do the same. When you choose authenticity, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage creates a ripple effect, encouraging those around you to drop their masks as well. In this way, individual authenticity becomes a force for social change. Share your authentic journey, your struggles and your victories. Together we can build a world where authenticity isn't a forgotten ideal but a lived reality. This is your moment to awaken. The masks are comfortable, but they can be removed. The path to authenticity is challenging, but it leads to wholeness. Choose wisely and step boldly into the life you were meant to live. Not someone else's life, but truly, finally your own.